I'm going to briefly talk about a YouTube Tuesday involving policy and procedure development, especially as it relates to internal controls under the uniform guidance. So the first thing in developing a policy and procedure is understand your resource environment. How many staff you have, what processes do you currently have, and how your overall organizational framework is set up, including your electronic systems and limitations, or the controls that those systems may already have. So to go over internal controls, we need to understand that it's not just the outcome that you have a document that was signed. The internal control review is going to involve how do you ensure that the whole process to that end document is correct. And that's where this is the challenge is going to be. So my first step of advice would be make sure when you're revising your policies or procedures to refer to the uniform guidance is start including the term internal controls and point to the procedures that need to be embedded into those policies. So an auditor can see that you have internal controls basically covered. And the other thing to consider when developing those policies and procedures is the administrative burden both on your own staff, the departmental staff, and faculty. We must always be cognizant of reducing that burden to facilitate the research. And when considering this, you have to balance between audit risk and compliance. Those are two very different things. So for example, the federal government did not prescribe how often effort reports used to be required. It could be certified within a time period that was really left up to the institution. Some institutions chose 30 days. There is not a requirement for this. So when reviewing this, how many times effort reports weren't certified within that time period, we revised ours to 90 days because there was a standard already in the federal regs about having some reports due within 90 days. This increased or better improved our compliance and at the same time lowered our audit risk. So just understand the difference between trying to be more compliant when it's really just a threshold of a minimum meeting the federal regs and how you may be increasing your audit risk. So we always start with what is the minimum requirement to be compliant, and be very careful whenever you add new language or new requirements that may be increasing your burden but also increasing your audit risk.